Okay, hi everybody at Church Universal and Triumphant. Namaste, it's Ben. I'm here doing a little bit of work on the internet on the topics of Calvinism, uh, Martin Luther, and the Calvinism and Martin Luther initially, because I wanted to nail down what those mean in a nutshell and also, um, establish good points of reference, talking points for use in my chaplaincy work through the church. And so I think it's important that people understand Calvinism because so much of Christianity is influenced by it and was influenced by it in the past as well. And Martin Luther, of course, was a pivotal Christian reformer. So this is just me basically taking a look on the internet and coming up with the information. Let me pull this forward a little bit. Okay. All right. So, okay. Here we go. So I'm going to Catholic Encyclopedia Online. Actually, they're just calling it Catholic Online. Do not scroll away. I'm not going to donate, but I am going to quote them, but I would like to give them attribution. It's Catholic.org. Okay, / encyclopedia. And let's see here. Okay, Reformed Theology. This must be quite illuminating to everybody, right? Watching me read. What I do in these videos, let me give you a little bit of additional information about how to use the videos while I'm here and on the topic, is if you're a mystic and you're on this path or on a similar path, I think most of the information comes across as being, well, you don't have to be in church to benefit from the information. I think that there are a lot of people on the periphery of the church who will benefit from it as well, and it really is meant to be shared. And you will find, irrespective of your path, you will find details, theological details, and nuances that are directly relevant to you, and which I hope you will find to be transformative, as I have found them to be. So there's a process of uncovering information and handling what are known as the treasure teachings of Buddhism effectively. In Buddhism, they refer to the three jewels, and the Sangha is one, Buddha is one, and the Dharma, I believe they say that the Dharma is the third jewel, and you will see that in the unfoldment as you progress through the church. So, to whatever extent you want to use the information, but the videos themselves are formatted in a somewhat scattershot fashion, and what really should be done, someone should come up with a wherewithal to go through, presumably myself, but I would have to be compensated to do it, and we'll take care of that. I mean, someone somewhere is going to come up with funding support for that, I believe, in the near future. I need at least one local parish, that I control with space enough for people to be living in the area, and and room to revamp some of these videos, but also to go through and to call information from the videos because they pertain directly to the sutras. periodically I'll go through and rewatch a 2-hour video of mine and figure that I made maybe 15 or 20 really interesting points. But I guess in some respects, maybe only I know where those are, so that's another issue as well. But yeah, that's what they're there for. They're there to be distilled and to be retooled, and for me to be able to take the information that I've recorded here, not just to be instructive, but also as an effort at, um, as I said, cataloging the emerging, as I've said in previous videos, cataloging the Sanatana Dharma as I encounter it. I think that's a good way to put it. Okay, so there's a whole write-up on Calvinism here. I'm not sure that, I don't know if this is going to be the best. Predestination is what really interests me about it, because I get that. I understand what is meant by that. Um, Beyond that, that's where I would start in a discussion about Calvinism, because all the Christian branches, the Reformed branches, all have sort of their own original, uh, uh, you know. Well, I think actually I should be careful. They all of the what are they called? Confessions. Well, that's really in the Catholic Church. But let me think for a minute. No, confessions also were like the Anabaptists and so forth had their own particular confession, or the I think the confessions are probably declared by the Church, the Roman Church. I don't know what that is. Roman. I know you folks know this already. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how they were used and who was administering them. Um, it's not that sort of confession. It's like Helvetic. The Helvetic Confession is a form of. It was written, okay, and this is around that time, I believe, around Calvin's time. The Second Helvetic Confession was written in 1562 by Heinrich Bullinger, whose life we considered in our previous article. It was intended by Bullinger to be buried with him as a testimony to the faith for which he had lived and which he had defended to his dying day. So this confession attempts to identify a reformed belief system. But despite his intentions before he died, Bullinger, and I'm sorry if it's Bullinger, I don't think it is though, Bullinger's confession came to light and was widely disseminated. This was due to a request from the pious elector of the Palatinate, Frederick III, that Bullinger prepare a clear and complete exposition of the Reformed faith that he might use as a defense of himself against charges of heresy, before the imperial diet of Augsburg. The elector was so pleased with Bullinger's confession that he requested and received permission to publish the new confession. What became known as the Second Helvetic Confession was first published simultaneously in Frederick's capital, the city of Heidelberg, and Bullinger's hometown of Zurich in 1566, in March, in both German and Latin. In short order, the Second Helvetic Confession was officially recognized by Reformed churches throughout Europe and beyond. So it's a statement of belief for those Reformed churches. That's the answer. And contents and style. This mentions Scotch Calvinism, so I'm going to bring this up as well. I don't know exactly what I'm quoting here, but Philip Schaff, who's a commentator on Second Helvetic Confession, so that's the attribution, says the following: upon the whole, the Second Helvetic Confession as to theological merit occupies the first rank among the Reformed confessions, while in practical usefulness it is surpassed by the Heidelberg and Westminster Shorter Catechisms, and in logical clearness and precision by the Westminster Confession, which is a product of a later age and of the combined learning and wisdom of English and Scotch Calvinism. Very interesting. And Alexander Stewart says in evaluating the Second Helvetic Confession that it was based upon the First Helvetic Confession, in which Bullinger also had a share but contains many improvements, that is, enlargements, besides being much more comprehensive. It has been described as scriptural and Catholic, wise and judicious, full and elaborate, yet simple and clear, uncompromising towards the errors of Rome, and moderate in its dissent from the Lutheran dogmas. It is, of course, more of the nature of a theological treatise than a popular creed. Okay. Definitely, I understand that. Moderate in its dissent from the Lutheran dogmas. Okay. Is not. Let me. Here. Let me see if I can. Okay. I don't know why they nail me with this all the time, but. He began as associate. If it's the same one. Yeah. He began as associate curate in the parish of St. Mary Magdalene, Bermondsey, in 1861, Anglican. In 1961, and was ordained as a priest in the Church of England in 1862. And he has the product book, 19th century guy, called the Companion Bible. And if you go to Companion Bible in your browser, when my browser maximizes, it will give you a free copy of looks like PDF copies of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And so just let me flip really quickly to Matthew and see if I can see. Okay, well, it's like I see. Behold thy king, Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 9. Um, okay, notes on Matthew's gospel. These are like details notes. They're like constable's notes, or they're. I see. What it will give you is it looks good. It's in PDF format, so it's scrolling, unless there's some way to convert it into something else. I don't know that there is, but I mean, I don't have a problem reading it. But on the left, you're going to see, right, Matthew. I can see at the top here indicating all the verses and so forth. And then on the right, you'll see his detailed notes on everything that's being said, basically. So, and it's continuous. I mean, it rolls from page to page, and you see the Bible in one font, and then it's letterboxing with a smaller font with references to what's going on the left side of the page, which is the actual word. And then, yeah, it's just tons of footnotes. like he'll say the Holy Ghost, and then he'll come back and he'll say, I think it's Pneuma Hagion, Holy Spirit or power from on high. So he'll draw in the Latin, um, cross references to other parts of the Bible, and so forth. So okay, almsgiving. Okay, and it goes on, and this is all of Matthew, I believe. And then if I just download it, I'll have all of it. Must be page 1380, but that's 1380 from the whole thing. So it goes from 1305. So I'll just save this right now to my computer. Yeah, and then I'll go there, and then I'll go there, there. Okay, so another good resource. We have Lumina as one resource, which is part of BibleNet.org. Remember that place? And yeah, but I never spell it right. Yeah, it's all one. I don't know what the domain is anymore, but when I find it again, you'll be able to get the King James Version, which is our preferred version at the Summit Lighthouse, as a reminder to everybody to be on the same, try to be on the same page about the books. Okay, it's actually net.bible.org, which will have the feature known as Lumina, and you can go through, like I'm on Net 2 right now, but I can go through and pick out King James right away and flip directly to it. So I'm in Malachi 4, and back to Matthew 1. I don't know how I got to Malachi 4. I just happened to be there. You can read it in Hebrew if you want, on the other side of the page. And you can link to the library, which will give you links to articles by theologians and scholars on what's going on in Malachi, for instance. Questions about marriage and divorce, which is a commentary on Matthew 19, 3 to 12. Avoiding the sin of adultery. So pretty interesting. Okay. I hope that some of this is useful to you people, but and I apologize for calling you people too. Okay, but these are resources that I have now anyway, and so that's good. But so let me try to find like maybe Catholic Encyclopedia, the actual one, to talk a little bit about Luther to you. And I know Aaron Prophet's been to whichever very important Luther location, I think in Germany, or in, well, wait a second. Luther's, right, he wasn't from Germany, right? He was from, it was Wittenberg. So I think she was in Wittenberg, actually, too, Aaron. Castle Church, where he nailed the 95 Theses. Okay. Martin Luther, Saxon priest, monk, and theologian, seminal figure in Protestant Reformation. Does not look happy in this photograph. Um, okay, he translated the New Testament into German. It's Wartburg Castle, and that is where Aaron was, because I remember it now that I see the name. It's Wartburg Castle she visited. There's a nice picture of it at Luther.com. Actually, visit Luther.com. I'm sorry, there's a hair on my face. I keep itching my face as a result. Okay, and then okay, he was kidnapped at one point for his own safety. It says, and it's that a friend of his found shelter by his friend Georg Spalatin, and Luther found shelter from his enemies under the guise of Squire George. So he was hunkered down in Wartburg Castle, but I think it was there that he translated the Bible into German. There's the Luther Trail. Yeah, and it says something about under 10 weeks. He did something like translating the New Testament into German. In the New Testament into German in 1522 in Wartburg Castle, hiding from the his enemies. Yeah, so that's Wartburg, and then the Luther connection. Yes, but where's the? Are we gonna secure the? Okay, Reformation heroes. It doesn't really say here, so I'm gonna go and look at the Catholic website. Okay, Martin Luther. No. I wouldn't necessarily expect to see, although an entry. There's no entry for Martin Luther, I don't believe, in the Summit Encyclopedia. Well, original sin, there's a comment about original sin. Augustine's view on sex. This is, good lord. We could actually grab this right now, guys. If you want. This is the Summit Lighthouse. Um, Well, I don't see why it's bad to read it. There's a picture of Saint Augustine by Simone Martini that was painted in the 14th century. It's Orthodox iconography or something similar. It looks like Greek Orthodox iconography. Um, Original sin. In order to support their official decrees raising Jesus to his unique stature as God, the hierarchy of the early Christian church developed several corollary doctrines. One of these is the doctrine of original sin. The doctrine as it is now taught in the Roman Catholic Church states that as a result of the fall of Adam, every member of the human race is born with a hereditary moral defect and is subject to death. Because of this inherited stain of sin, no man is capable of achieving either his decency or destiny without a saving act of God. This is accomplished, according to the Roman Church, through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. What the Roman Church did with their doctrine of original sin is to doom the entire human race to failure except through the saving grace of Jesus Christ, which is a law that is not a law of God and cannot be fulfilled as they have so declared it. Origins of the doctrine. For the most part, there is barely a trace of the concept of original sin among the early apostolic fathers, who believed that no sin could prevent man from choosing good over evil by his own free will. Early theologians had toyed with the idea that man's wretched state of affairs is somehow related to the fall of Adam and Eve in the garden, but it was St. Augustine, AD 354 to 430, who fashioned it into what remains a cornerstone of Christian theology, original sin. Okay, so what verse? Okay, I don't want to read all of this. It's some of his. He had odd theories on sex or unusual theories about sex. I think it's pretty much no sex is the way or something. I'm not quite sure. And that it was really what he referred to as carnal concupiscence that corrupted all of Adam's stock and so on. Um, the guilt affects us at subconscious levels and burdens many Catholics and former Catholics, not to mention some Protestants who absorbed it through the thought of Martin Luther and John Calvin, leaders of the Protestant Reformation. But anyway, I can't really elaborate on that right now. Oh my god, I don't know what is wrong with my nose. Oh, so sorry. I'll have to edit this.